Hello there, it's Baz at GotAUkulele, although this isn't GotAUkulele, this is Whisky. And I just want to say, it was a bit of fun last night putting a whiskey video up, but this isn't going to be a regular thing. It's just that Scotch malt whiskey is a real sort of passion of mine. I've travelled all over Scotland. My wife is half Scottish, her family is Scottish. We've holidayed on the Isle of Islay, and we really like malt whiskey. And one of those malt whiskies that I really like is this one, Laphroaig, the 10-year-old Laphroaig, which I think is about as good as it gets. Really divisive whiskey though, because it is very peaty, it's very smoky, it's a bit different. You either like it or you don't. It's a Marmite whiskey, but it's still my favourite. Probably one of the first malt whiskies I tried about sort of 30 years ago, and that's probably why it stuck with me. But that's not what I'm talking to you about. What I'm talking to you about is this one, which is also Laphroaig, and this is a new bottling. It's a 16-year-old Laphroaig. They've released 16-year-olds before to great acclaim. They cost a couple of £100 a bottle to buy. But what's unusual about this one is that this one has come about as a result of a deal between Laphroaig and Amazon. Amazon, the bookseller, the website that sells everything. Now that's divisive times divisive. I'm not a huge fan of Amazon. I use them, and normally you'll see me on here talking about ukuleles, and I don't like the fact that they are selling crap instruments with some pretty dubious quality standards and marketing standards. And then I see my favourite whiskey brand suddenly appears on Amazon, and this is an Amazon-only bottling. So basically, they've done a deal with Laphroaig to sell this 16-year-old. This 16-year-old is only available on Amazon. It costs about £90 a bottle, which sounds expensive for malt whiskey, but in the scheme of malt whiskey, it's not hugely expensive for a 16-year-old whiskey. And it's pretty cheap for a Laphroaig 16-year-old. But it's Amazon only. So I'm a fan of Laphroaig, and I bought one. And it kind of has been sitting uneasy with me since, because I love this brand so much, but I don't like the idea of Amazon getting control of the whiskey market. Like they've taken control of everything else. Does the channel matter? Does the sales point matter? I don't know. And I'm not really going to do a huge review of this one because, whiskey tasting is really subjective, just like instrument testing is subjective. But what I will say, if you know Laphroaig whiskey, is that this is a lot paler. It's like a straw colour. Now, Laphroaig 10-year-old changes really regularly, because whiskey changes over the years. The 10-year-old that is bottled today is 10 years in a barrel in Islay, and the 10-year-olds that was bottled 30 years ago, when I first tried Laphroaig whiskey, was 10 years old then. So we're going back 30 years. It was a different owner of the distillery, probably a slightly different process. But anyway, we bought this one, and my wife loves malt whiskey too. I love the pale colour of it. It reminds me of the Laphroaig's, the 10-year-old from years ago when I first tried it. These days, Laphroaig is much darker in colour, and I think they add caramel to it. This looks like it's completely unfiltered and nothing added to it. It's a straw colour. It clearly smells like Laphroaig. It's peaty, it's smoky, but there's a lot more going on with it. It's richer but smoother, and I wonder whether this is the whiskey that, if you really don't like Laphroaig, you might like this one. But to say that really is terrific. That really is terrific. But to say that is sort of belying the point of why I'm talking to you, which is, this isn't a whiskey review. It's more about Amazon have got hold of my favourite whiskey brand, a really good whiskey brand. Whether you like Laphroaig or not, Amazon have got hold of it, and they've got a bottling. And they put a bottling out that I think is absolutely terrific. But what does that mean? Do we want Amazon controlling whiskey production? I'm really in two minds about this one. I'm glad I bought it. It's about 80 quid a bottle from Amazon only. As I say, that may sound expensive. But for a 16-year-old malt whiskey from a distillery like this one, and if you ever get the chance to go to Islay, do go and visit this place because it is on the south coast. I mean, all the distilleries on Islay are huge fun to visit. I've done them all, but Laphroaig was the one that always was part of my heart. I personally will continue to drink the 10-year-old. This was a bit of a tester. I don't know whether I'll be buying this again, but it is bloody good. It really is good. The Laphroaig 16-year-old, Amazon only bottling. I hate to say that just kind of sticks in my throat. I know I'm going on about it, but there we are. Laphroaig 16-year-old from Islay, single malt Scots whiskey from the Isle of Islay off the west coast of Scotland. Wonderful place, wonderful whiskey, and I know plenty of people don't like Laphroaig and aren't going to agree with me, regardless of whether it says 16 on that bottle, 10, or anything else for that matter. But I like it. See you soon. There will not be a GotAUkulele channel setting up. I know one or two people have said that would be great. I've got more than enough on my plate with bloody ukuleles. See you soon. Sláinte.